Hey, Denzel, come over here. Come over here. Come here. Come here. Really, Chris? That's your Denzel impression? That's not very good, man. I don't know if that's gonna work. Your Mark Wahlberg impression just as bad. I'm really sorry you guys have to deal with my impressions on a regular basis. Two Guns stars Denzel Washington, Mark Wahlberg, Paula, Patton, Bill Paxton, and James Marsden. This movie comes from the director of Contraband, so him and Wahlberg are teaming up again. And where Contraband was a little more straightforward, this is more of an action comedy. In this movie, we have two guys who are actually both undercover, trying to pin a bank robbery on the other guy and use the other person to get closer to this big stash of money to be able to make a good score for the DEA and the Navy, respectively. And when the money turns out to be way more money than they thought it was going to be, and they both realize they're actually good guys, a whole bunch of people suddenly want this money, and now we have our movie. I wasn't really looking forward to Two Guns simply because of the director. I thought Contraband was kind of meh, but it didn't really seem like a summer movie to me. It seemed kind of like a February or a March type movie, and it still feels that way after seeing it, but I can say that it was a little bit better than I thought it was going to be. By far the best part of this movie is the chemistry between Denzel Washington and Mark Wahlberg. These guys work great together. They're hilarious together. This is actually a really funny movie, especially because of Mark Wahlberg's character. He's actually pretty hilarious in this movie. He has some of the best jokes in the entire movie. In fact, one joke that had the audience in my theater, including myself, roaring like into the next scene, like 10-15 seconds into the next scene. No one knew what anyone was saying in that scene because everyone was laughing at what he does at the end of this one scene. He was really funny in this movie, and I liked his character because he was self-aware. He wasn't just being stupid to be stupid for screenplay's sake, like, hey, Mark Wahlberg tells stupid joke. Like, his character understood that he's kind of an idiot, and he played off that, and I really like that about this movie. Denzel is always good. I have always liked that man. He's very good in the movie, but he doesn't really do anything challenging for him as an actor. He does have some great scenes. He's pretty funny in the movie himself, and his chemistry, like I said, with Mark Wahlberg is really good. Also, Bill Paxton is pretty entertaining in this movie as a villain. He comes in, and there's one guy in my theater who for some reason felt the need to go, Bill Paxton. I don't know why he did that, but I guess I kind of felt the same way. Every time I see Bill Paxton, I just immediately think of that scene in Aliens where Lance Henriksen points at that gas that's coming up and says, yeah, that's going to blow up pretty soon and we're all going to die. Oh, that's fucking great, man. That's fucking great. Oh, game over, man. Game over. He's entertaining in this movie as this villain who just wants that money very badly. Paula Patton is also in the movie, and dear Lord, oh my word, she is really, really hot in this movie. I mean, like, every other scene, my mouth kind of went, She's got a great scene in this movie, let me just say. Yes. James Marsden's character, I don't really want to say what he is or what he does because his character is also very twisty and turny, and I don't want to spoil what his character is, but I didn't really buy his character. I'll just put it that way. He didn't have that much screen time. He didn't have that much depth behind him at all. He didn't really understand why he was doing some of the things he did. And that leads me to my biggest problem with this movie, and that is the screenplay. This is one of the most twisty, turny movies of the summer. Every other minute, it seems like there's a new twist of some kind where a character is now at a different place, and you're like, oh, what now? It doesn't really make sense. It's very convoluted and scatterbrained. And as the movie goes on, more twists and more turns and more twists and more turns and more characters going this way and characters going that way. And you're like, where does this make sense? And that really is my biggest problem with the movie. The script is all over the place. I can't really sit down and say, I'm going to explain the plot of Two Guns 100% to you from beginning to end because there's just so much going on and a lot of it doesn't feel like it makes sense. And if it does make sense on paper, it wasn't made clear to the viewer, at least for me. If you're an audience member and you're going to go to this movie, you're going to have fun with it. Like I could tell my audience really dug it. There was a lot of funny parts. The characters worked well together. There were some entertaining action scenes that weren't filmed horribly, except for one car chase, which although wasn't filmed terribly, it just wasn't very interesting until the end when the two characters having the car chase got in a fight, and then it was pretty awesome. But because of the all over the place script and the story that isn't very remarkable that seems to go in all different directions, I would say this is like an excellent tip-top rental. Like when this comes out on Redbox or the PlayStation Store or the Vudu app or the Amazon Instant Rental or the Video On Demand or whatever is your choice of rental, I would say this is like the tip-top rental ever. You could rent this movie and have a lot of fun. I don't really know if it's necessary to see it in theaters. It doesn't really feel like a summer movie. It's a fun action film that you will probably enjoy on the level of these characters are fun to watch. But if you really start thinking about what's going on, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. I'm gonna give Two Guns a C+. So guys, thanks as always for watching very much. What's your favorite Denzel Washington movie? Or what's your favorite Mark Wahlberg movie? For me, my favorite Denzel movie, I don't even actually know. That guy is like awesome. He is awesome. Mark Wahlberg, oh, totally The Happening. Definitely The Happening. I'm kidding. Thanks a lot, guys, and if you like this, you can click right here and get Stuckmanized.